Sometimes when something's a little challenging, you tend to put it off, and that's what I've been doing with this chair. In our last installment with this chair, I used some parchment paper to replicate the curve of the front and make a pattern. And then I used that pattern and cut 3 2x4s in that same shape. I used the jigsaw to get those curvy lines and then glued and screwed those 3 pieces together and kind of alternated the screws. And I countersunk them so they wouldn't stick up. I know I'll have to come back later and smooth out the front. Right now I'm just worrying about getting the height that I need to continue with the seat. Next, after some measuring and with the help of the miter saw and the nail gun, I began to assemble the seat. I did some crossbars for support, and then I began to lay some more pieces across the top and figure out the placement. Before I cut, I used a pencil along the edge to get the same curve. I also numbered them so I knew which one was which when I put them back. Meanwhile, Travis is working steadfastly on the other chair trying to remove those little bits of fabric and nails. I begin to measure the back pieces. I make some cuts and begin to place them. I know that I'll be also having some boards on the outside as well. I'm really playing this by ear. Reconstructing it with upholstery would have been a whole different animal, so we're creating something new here. So it's just a little slow going, which is sometimes why I get a little frustrated with it, because I'm not exactly sure what the next move is, or else it all just seems like a tremendous amount of work. The chair is going to be very heavy, which will be really well suited for the clients or anyone who gets this furniture for their porch. Sometimes I need that introspection to figure out the next move. So I connect the bottom of the boards with L brackets, which will be hidden in between. Okay, I could not wait any longer. I know there's lots and lots of boards that need to be put on this. I needed to make something pretty. And I know people get frustrated with my process sometimes. I jump all over the place. But honestly, that's the way my brain works. And that's the fuel that I need to continue to work. I need to start seeing it come to fruition, what I see in my mind for the finished piece, so that I can finish the rest. That's how I have the motivation to paint furniture pieces sometimes quickly, because I finish the entire front and then go and do the sides. You know, I'll do that kind of thing. So I know it may seem out of order to some people, but for my brain, I guess that's just how it goes. So what I'm doing here is laying down some sandbar on these raw wood pieces. And some of the pieces that I'm using, it's all upcycled wood. So some of the pieces you can see where the paint jar is laying. It's kind of a good match as to what was already painted. So I have seen this decoupage from the beginning. So I'm planning on doing decoupage and many different treatments on this chair, on the planks. That to me was always the point of interest. So this paper is from JRV, Jamie Ray Vintage decoupage paper. And I originally hadn't considered this toile, but I went to my scrap drawer and I'm pulling up a whole bunch of different scraps of different kinds of decoupage paper that I have. So I continue to just lay them out and decoupage them down. I'm using Dixie Belle's Clear Coat in satin as my decoupage medium. This may look really crazy, but this is a trust the process moment. Just go with it. I hope you enjoy watching it. And sometimes I even have to remind myself to trust what I'm seeing. Because right now it doesn't look like much of anything. But I just want to keep going and keep building. There may be some stenciling that happens on this. There might be some stamping. There's definitely going to be some paint inlays. But it's just going to keep going from here. So buckle up and watch. I'm tearing a lot of the paper so that I get a soft edge as opposed to something that's just cut. That wasn't necessarily in my original plans, but this part is all happening pretty organically, so I'm just kind of going with what I see happening. And originally in my plan, I wasn't planning on stamps or stencils, but again, that might happen, only because of this jagged tear step. That's where that came in, so I'm just kind of using all these different ones. It's a little difficult to tear because it's rice paper and it has all these little fibers in it, so it doesn't always tear perfectly straight, but that's okay. So I've pulled my scraps from my rose chintz paint inlay from Iron Orchid Designs, and I'm positioning that in various places over and in bare spots on the chair. Paint inlays have paint embedded in the paper. You put your paint down, in this case Dixie Belle's Satin Clear Coat, and while it's wet, you lay the paper with the paint side down. And then you smooth it out and you use water. You can use a rag. I'm just using my hands and misting it. And then I'm going to let that dry. And then in the morning, I'll be happy to see how my paint inlays turned out. And then where my next step will be. I may also be taking some of the scraps from previous projects, and my friend Lel Martin from Made by Marley decoupaged pieces of spent paper. So it's the morning. So I come in and I start spraying my paint inlays, and very anxious to see that the rose chintz pattern has transferred. And I was a little disappointed. And I think it's my own fault. User error. So sometimes when you go right from decoupaging to using paint inlays, you get a little confused. I think I may have actually used some of the clear sealer around the edges of the paint inlay, making it difficult to remove. So I'm kind of having struggles here, just removing a little bit at a time, and I'm okay with it because what's going to happen is I will come back in with some sandpaper because everything's going to get distressed in the long run anyway. So if you're afraid of paint inlays, if I just made them sound really scary, don't be. Check out some of my other videos that I've used them quite successfully, as well as lots of other people who use them successfully. It's a great product. I'm just using it kind of off-label where my mind is taking me. So that considered, don't be afraid to try them. And I will keep you updated, and I will keep doing videos with paint inlays so that you can see they're nothing to be afraid of and they're everything wonderful. Finally, I made the decision to just walk away, and I will come back in and sand. So here's where we are with things, and I was hoping this would be the big reveal, but it's just progress. Sometimes good things take time. Thank you so much for watching today. If you like this video, how about giving it a thumbs up and also share it with your friends? If you haven't subscribed, you'll want to do that so you don't miss anything. Visit us at LiVintageDecor.company, and on Instagram we're LiVintageDecor, and on Facebook we're LiVintageDecor Altoona. Stay well.